Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to explain about ICSE class history, especially class 10th history first lesson, the first war of independence 1857. So this chapter is very important for your board examination. Why? Because always every year they used to ask question on causes of the first war of independence, because different causes covered in this lesson like political causes, socio-religious causes, military causes, economic causes, immediate causes. So lot of different causes covered here. So based on that different causes, every year they used to ask the question in your board exam, especially they used to cover it in the part of structured question, means each question carries 10 marks. No, in that part also they are always covering this lesson questions here. So not only the causes, even the leaders of this also important. So center of the revolts also important, and you should focus it on the consequences of first war of independence 1857. So these all are very important topic for your board examination. That's why I'm going to help you to prepare for your board examination shortly. What you are going to attend it in February or in the month of March, no, for that. So in this video, first I'm going to explain about that. What about the introduction of first war of independence and also first cause of the revolt of 1857? So political causes. In this video I'm going to explain that. So before I request everyone, those who are watching without subscribe my channel, no, subscribe my channel, kindly share it to your friends, those who are preparing and studying in ICSE class 10th, no, so it will become beneficial for your friends also. Let's begin the class. First I mentioned that introduction, right? So what about that introduction of revolt of 1857? So before going to discuss about that causes, different causes and all, first we should know about that why that revolt has started in 1857, who has started the revolt, what about the reasons to start the uprising against the British rule. So these are all concepts are very important. So in brief I mentioned regarding that, so note down this. The revolt of 1857 was the first large-scale uprising against the British rule. So this is important, correct? This 1857 uprising or revolt, what we are calling, no, first large-scale uprising. See, here we are not mentioning it as the mass uprising. I mentioned it as large-scale uprising. So why? Because even some of the Indian section of society of the Indians, so they didn't participate in the part of first war of Indian independence. If that all the different section of Indian society participated, means we can mention it as mass uprising or the mass revolt against the British rule, like that. But large scale uprising means some of the Indian society, some section of the Indian society remained neutral in the time of the first war of independence. That's why this was only the large scale uprising. It began with the Sipais. So who began that? Indian Sipais, means Indian soldiers. So later it quickly spread to the rulers, peasant, landlords, ordinary people, etc. So later many different people also participated in the part of revolt of 1857. So many different people like peasants, landlords, even the ordinary people participated in the part of that war of 1857 or revolt of 1857. But what about the result of that? Means unsuccessful. So this revolt has become failure in front of the British rule. So what about the reasons to the failure? So what about the consequences of the war of 1857 or revolt of 1857? So these all topic are very important for your board examination. So let's discuss it one by one. So first one, causes they mentioned in your syllabus. In that causes, first cause they mentioned about the political causes here. So political causes means most commonly it is representing about the administrative issues, correct? So administrative matters of India here, because after that Britishers completely captured India, they interfere in the part of the socio-religious matter, cultural matters, economical matters, even the political matters also completely captured by the Britishers on that time. So that all the reasons has become one of the important causes to rise the revolt of 1857. So political causes means completely related to the administrative matter of India. So what about the reasons for that? One by one we can discuss it. So first I mentioned that policy of expansion. So most commonly policy of expansion, one of the policy followed by the Britishers to expand their ruling system. So always See, initially they entered as the traders. Later, when they observed that weakness of Indian rulers and all, later they decided to capture the administrative system or the political system of India here. So another one of that, not only the weakness of that disunity among the Indian rulers and all, so they were engaging in the part of constant wars, internal wars. So this all has become one of the important reasons to capture the political system of India by the Britishers here. So later they followed the policy of expansion. So previously some of the regions captured by the Britishers, they didn't stick on only to take over the part of that particular regions and all. They targeted to expand their ruling system throughout India. That's why they introduced some of the different policies over the Indians here. So what about the policies? So one by one we can discuss it here now. So policy of expansion means, see, the East India Company followed an aggressive policy of territorial expansion. So territorial expansion means expansion of British ruling in India. So to establish the political supremacy over India. So what about that political supremacy? Administration system must be, entire administration system must be managed by the British East India Company. So Indian rulers must give up that position to the Britishers or British East India Company, and supremacy must be managed by the or followed by the British East India Company. This reduced the authority of Indian rulers and created widespread resentment. So, based on this policy of expansion, Indian rulers started to lose their authority. They started to reduce the power of the Indian rulers, and based on this, when that Indian rulers started to lose their powers, lost their authority, lost their supremacy and all, so it has created one of the widespread resentment. So widespread resentment means Indian rulers decided to raise voice against the Britishers on that time. So this all we called it as the policy of expansion. I hope what I am explaining in simple language you are understanding that, right? So under the part of policy of expansion, some of the important policies mentioned in your syllabus. So one by one we can discuss about that. So first one is by outright wars. So by outright wars means, say, in history we can observe that how they can expand, even the Britishers or even the Indian rulers or some other rulers and all. One is by the process of wars, declaring or announcing war against another or someone. So another one by introducing some of the policies and all. So another method they followed to expand their territories means by establishing the good alliances and all. So these different methods we can observe it in our history. So which were the method followed by the Britishers? That's mentioned in your syllabus here. So first one by outright wars. See, by outright wars means nothing. They declared war against the Indian kingdoms and the Indian rulers here. Very good example. We can say that Anglo-Mysore wars, Anglo-Maratha wars, Anglo-Sikh wars. So lot of different wars declared by the Britishers on that time, and also they established the different ruling system or victorious wars to the British East India Company on that time. Means in these all the different battles, different wars, who achieved victory means that is by the British East India Company. That's why based on achieving the victory towards these all the Indian rulers, that British's ruling system started to become more stronger. So this is one of the important thing. That's why by outright wars also one of the political causes to rise the uprising of 1857. So next one is subsidiary alliances. See, the subsidiary alliances also very important. Why? Because always they used to cover it in a part of 2-mark questions. Even MCQ main also they may ask it, even that short answer. So always continuously and repeatedly they used to ask the question regarding subsidiary alliances. Then subsidiary alliances means who introduced that. So this is very important. Introduced by Lord Wellesley. Then what about the terms and condition of subsidiary alliances means? So he forced the rulers, Indian rulers, to accept the British troops and surrender control over the foreign affairs and all. So based on that, they must maintain means Indian ruler must maintain the British troops. They should have one of the British officer in the royal court, and all the foreign affairs must be surrendered to the Britishers. Means Indian rulers, they should not have any kind of the foreign affairs with any other different countries and all. So totally they captured each and every section, each and every authority and right of the Indian rulers on that time. So these rulers became dependent on the Britishers. So every right has captured by the Britishers, right of Indian rulers captured by Britishers means Indian rulers lost their independence. So they has become the dependent on the Britishers. So lost their independence. So based on this, subsidiary alliances has become one of the important reasons to the rise of uprising or revolt of 1857. So next one, doctrine of lapse. So this is also very important cause actually. So doctrine of lapse, subsidiary alliances introduced by Lord Wellesley, like the same doctrine of lapse introduced by Lord Dalhousie. So this is also another one of the important policy introduced by the British East India Company to capture the Indian territories. So what about the terms and condition of that doctrine of lapse means? See, he decided to annex the different states. So what about the rule imposed on the Indian rulers means? Where that rulers died without natural hire, especially natural male hire is important. So on that time, hereditary based. So they used to ascend the throne based on the hereditary system and also male dominated society. So male child must become the ruler of next to the died of the ruler or the after his death of the father or the king. So this was one of the continuous system followed by the Indian rulers on that time. That's why British East India Company targeted over these kind of the kingdoms. So if that rulers died without natural male hire, so that kingdom must be surrendered to the British East India Company on that time. Means adopted sons were not recognized. Means they don't have any kind of the or any rights to ascend the throne, or right has not given to the adopted sons to ascend the royal throne on that time. So these kind of the policy introduced. So most commonly, which were the rulers died without a natural male hire, they should surrender their kingdom or the territories to the British East India Company. So under that part of that, under the policy of doctrine of lapse, some of the Indian regions, important regions, were annexed by the Britishers here. Very good example, Satara, Jhansi, Nagpur, Sambalpur. So lot of different examples we can add it to the part of doctrine of lapse here. So based on that, when that British East India Company started to annex the region continuously by giving the reason, by giving the concept of doctrine of lapse, so it has become causing to the anger among the Indian princes. So they decided to raise voice against the Britishers. So next policy was annexation on the pretext of misrule. So this is totally related to the Awadh region. So we can discuss about this. So what about that annexation on the pretext of misrule means? British identified some rulers of bad administration means some Indian rulers, those who are maintaining bad administration system in their regions, their states and all, that states must be annexed by the Britishers here. This only we are calling it as the misrule. Means that regions, that states were not managing properly under the Indian rulers. So that kind of the states were required the British administration. So these kind of the policy introduced by the Britishers here, especially based on this misrule. Awadh was annexed in 1856. So after annexing the Awadh, each and every economical activity, social interference, everything was captured by the Britishers. Based on this, noble soldiers and the common people upsetting due to the part of this one. annexation of the Awadh based on the misrule. So based on this, that Awadh provinces, Awadh region people raised the revolt against the Britishers. So these all what we discussed till here no comes under the part of policy of expansion. Now this is second political cause, disrespect shown to Bahadur Shah II. So most commonly Bahadur Shah II, he belongs to the Mughal dynasty. So especially basically we should think about that, means that Mughal rulers only accepted the British entry to India as a traders. So later when that Mughal dynasty started to become weaker, they decided to capture the Mughal region also. So not only capturing the Mughal region, they didn't give any kind of the respect to the Mughal rulers on that time. So very good example was Bahadur Shah II. So British decided that Bahadur Shah II successor would not use the imperial title. So after that Bahadur Shah II, successors of that Bahadur Shah II, means next Mughal rulers, they should not use the imperial title. So what about that imperial titles? Royal titles, clear? So that royal title should not be used by the rulers or the king of the Mughal dynasty. So that announcement has given by the British East India Company. So not only that one, that announcement, and also they announced to Mughal rulers should leave the Red Fort. So Red Fort, actually it was one of the major center of the Mughal rulers on that time. For that each and every official matter they were using the Red Fort on that time. So this British East India Company announced that Red Fort should not used by the Mughal rulers. So based on these all the different announcement of the British East India Company, this is deeply insulted the Indian sentiment. So based on this, Mughals also become one of the enemies to the British East India Company. So next causes coming under the part of that, or comes under the part of political treatment given to Nana Sahib. So treatment given to Nana Sahib, actually he was one of the adopted son of Peshwa Baji Rao II. Correct. So what about the concept of that? Why that Nana Sahib became one of the against to the British East India Company on that time? Means British stopped Nana Sahib pension after the death of Peshwa Baji Rao II. See, these all Peshwas, when they surrender their territories to the British ruling or the administration, that Peshwas were getting the pension amount from the Britishers. So they were getting the pension amount other than the ruling system and all. But after Peshwa Baji Rao II, Nana Sahib has become the Peshwa of the regions and all. So when that Nana Sahib became the Peshwa, Britishers stopped to giving the pension amount to the Nana Sahib. So what about the reason for that? Means he was the adopted son of Peshwa Baji Rao II. So based on this adopted son concept, Britishers refused to give the pension amount to the Nana Sahib on that time. So based on this, Nana Sahib also became against to the Britishers here. He became one of the leading figure in the revolt of 1857. So next one, fourth reason, absentee sovereignty. So absentee sovereignty means, say, India was ruled for the benefit of Britain. So India was ruled for the benefit of Britain means, so, and they were collecting the tax amount from the Indians and all, but every amount, every wealth of India utilizing to the benefit of the Britain itself. So they were not utilizing that collected amount to development of the Indians on that time. So this we are calling it as absentee sovereignty here. So wealth was completely drained to the England and important decisions were taken by the foreigners. So based on this, say that British East India Company, they completely captured the administration system, political system of India here, but they were managing from the Britain itself. So each and every decisions over India, it was taken by the foreigners on that time. So it has created the dissatisfaction among the Indians and causing to rise the revolt of 1857. So till here what we discussed, this is completely related to the political cause of 1857 or War of 1857. So based on this political causes of revolt of 1857, we can discuss some of the MCQ also, which will become beneficial or useful for your board examination. Let us see one by one. So practice questions, MCQ question. Who introduced doctrine of lapse? So till here, without skipping, if you watch my video, miss, this question is very easy to give answer for me actually. So doctrine of lapse introduced by first option Wellesley, Dalhousie, Canning and Lord Ripon. So answer is most commonly doctrine of lapse introduced by Lord Dalhousie. He introduced doctrine of lapse and annexed the several princely states, and it increasing the resentment towards the Britishers here. So easy question but very important for your board exam. So what is next question? Say, let us see that. Which state was annexed on the pretext of misrule? Now only I explained that. So based on pretext of misrule, British East India Company start to capture some of the Indian provinces or the territories. So which example has mentioned in your syllabus? No, that is very important. So Mysore, Awadh, Hyderabad, Kashmir. So most commonly answer is Awadh. So Awadh was annexed in 1856. This is also very important based on the maladministration or the misrule by Indian rulers. So next, third question. Who was denied his pension? So pension was refused. That pension amount given to Peshwa Bajirao II, no, from later his son Nana Sahib. Britishers refused to pay the pension amount to the Nana Sahib. So based on only this question asked here, who was denied his pension? So that is Tantia Tope, Nana Sahib, Lakshmi Bai and Kunwar Singh. So most commonly answer is Nana Sahib. Refusal of pension become the major political grievance towards the Peshwas. So next question. Yes. Subsidiary alliance was introduced by who? Introduced subsidiary alliances? Dalhousie, Curzon, Wellesley and Hastings. So most commonly answer is Lord Wellesley. It reduced Indian rulers to dependent allies. Means independence of that rulers became reduced and they were become the dependent of the Britishers here. So let's see the next question. Yes, question number 5. Why is the revolt of 1857 called the first war of independence? So option first I mentioned that it ended British rule. It united different sections of Indian society. Only soldiers fought. Only Delhi participated in the part of First War of Independence or Revolt of 1857. So this question for you, which is the answer for this question by reading this 4 option? No, comment the answer. I will read that. If you commented wrong answer means I will explain the right answer in my next video. So thank you everyone and prepare well for your board examination. So I will upload next video regarding that, another one of the important causes of revolt of 1857. So before going to conclude my video, again I requesting everyone to subscribe my channel, share it to your friends, those who are preparing for board exam, and also like the video and comment for next difficult topic. I will make video on that difficult topic itself. Thank you everyone. Thank you for watching and don't forget to comment the right answer of question 5. Thank you everyone. Bye bye.